Farmers are the consummate innovators, coming up with fixes on the fly to solve all sorts of problems. My guest today wants to ensure they have the funding to turn on-the-farm innovation into research to help the entire farming community. We're talking grants for farmers today on Across the Fence. Hello, Vermont. I love getting to be the bearer of good news. For all you problem-solving farmers and food system innovators out there, help is on the way. To date, the Sustainable Agriculture Research and Education Program, or SARE, has distributed more than $120 million to farmers, ranchers, researchers, and educators who are improving the profitability, stewardship, and quality of life of America's farming communities. My guest today is Teresa Leslie, Director of the Northeast SARE region based at UVM, and she's here to talk about several grants representing about $7 million in funding opportunities combined that are accepting applications right now. Grants can be quite sizable and are definitely impactful. We're going to hear about a recent recipient in a minute, so let's learn more about qualifying for some of that money. Dr. Leslie, welcome.
How are you?
I'm well. How are you?
I'm good.
Good. Yes, I'm glad that I'm no longer out in the cold. It's been really chilly recently,
Yes,
right?
yes,
I mean, we've had our snow.
And the wind yesterday.
And the wind yesterday, yes. So when I was out there on the farm doing my little introduction, I was like, ooh, it's returned to the weather.
The
I'm
winter
enjoying
is back.
It, though. I love winter, so I'm very, very happy. But in any case, all right, so let's talk about these SARE grants, because this is a decent amount of money at a time where, hey, it's really great to have access to money.
The funding landscape is not that great right now.
Yeah.
But let me just say, SARE is a national program.
Yep.
And we represent the Northeast.
Okay.
And in the Northeast, there are 12 states. Let me just say from West Virginia to Maine.
Okay.
Including Washington, D.C.
Okay.
So there are 3 other regions of SARE, including the Northeast. So we serve 12 states and Washington, D.C.
Okay.
And I would say that our focus right now is really for people who want to apply, just think about the concept of food security and national security.
Okay.
I think that is very important.
Okay.
Our farmers are core to that, and what we do is provide funding for on-farm research.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So to improve profitability, to improve the lives of farmers. Mm-hmm. So please, you know, if you want to do some research, check out our SARE grants.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about, there's a bunch of different grants available,
Yes.
but there is one that has the application window getting ready to
That's
close.
the farmer grant, which is a
grant.
small grant program that's up to $30,000. I think the application deadline is December 11th.
I think it's December 9th because it's my birthday. So.
Oh, okay. Well, you know,
stuck in my head.
December 9th. That's 2 days earlier, so
Yeah.
that's coming up now. So
Coming
that's
up now.
already open,
Mm-hmm.
and Tuesday of last week we released 4 of our large grant programs, which is the Farming Community Grant, Research and Education, Novel Approaches, and Professional Development. Mm-hmm. And those grants can go up to $250,000.
Yeah, so those are sizable.
They're
but
sizable.
The farmer grant, $30,000, that's still like a decent chunk of change.
It's a decent chunk of change,
Yeah.
especially if you want to do something exploratory,
Yeah.
which may lead to a larger grant.
Yeah, and you've been having Q&A sessions for them. I think there's recordings of the Q&A sessions. So for folks who are
yes.
interested in that grant that's coming due more quickly,
Yes.
look online, you can watch
And you can watch the
Q&A.
Q&A sessions, and the Q&A sessions for the large grants, check out our website. We do have Q&A sessions for all.
For all of them?
Yes, at once. We used to have separate
Yeah.
ones, but they're pretty much all together right now.
Yes, and so those 4 more large grants that you just mentioned, so those just opened.
Yes.
Their due dates are going to be coming up in February, so there's a little bit more time.
Yes.
Can you tell us, so we're going to go into some of the, like a little more detail on, but I wanted to start with the Farming Community Grant. Mm-hmm. This is a really interesting grant.
It is an interesting grant. It's a new grant. So last year was the first cohort, mm-hmm. and specifically it's our social science focused grant. Mm-hmm. And we talk about our legislation, but SARE is legislated by Congress, and there are certain things that SARE is supposed to do. Mainly, work conserving water, mm-hmm. soil, mm-hmm. wildlife, that type of thing. Mm-hmm. But there are 2 parts of our legislation that talks about training the next generation of farmers and farmer health. Mm-hmm. So the Farming Community Grant really focuses on those 2 pieces of legislation. Mm-hmm. So, and overall, for all of our grants, one of the 3 things that we're looking at is innovation, mm-hmm. farmer impact, meaning replicability, mm-hmm. and how they fit with our legislative priorities.
And
It's
the
very important.
replicability is important because that's that idea that, so farmers are so great at coming up with ideas for fixes on farm, but then can these be turned out and shared
Yes.
with other members of the community
Exactly.
and food systems people as well?
And what is the reach of that?
Yeah.
And to a certain extent, that explains why we are a regional organization.
Yeah.
Because what happens in the Northeast could be different from what happens in the West.
Right,
So
exactly.
SARE is very geography focused, let's say.
Yes. Okay. Well, we wanted to learn more about the impact of SARE grants in our own local farming community. So we sent our Keith Silva to Winooski to talk with Carolina Lukac of the Vermont Garden Network, who received a farming community grant in that very first cohort, the 2025 cycle. Let's take a look.
In spring of 2025, we received one of the grants for historically underserved farming communities. Ours focuses on growing culturally significant crops at the garden scale with New American and immigrant communities in Winooski and Burlington. Right now we are in the greenhouse at Landry Park in Winooski.
What does the Vermont Garden Network do?
So we are a statewide nonprofit, and our work centers in food access and garden education. We have season-long programming from March through June. We do seed starting here. Half of the greenhouse this first season was used to grow the plant starts for the programming that we have in Chittenden County and a few housing sites outside of Chittenden County. So that means we grew around 3,000 to 4,000 vegetables, some herbs, some flowers. And the second half of the greenhouse was used for students. We had 18 students participate in a 10-week-long seed starting class. We're really tuning into what do people want to eat and can it be grown here, and how can we do it in a way that is affordable and that is accessible. It doesn't require too much technology and somebody can do it in their backyard or in a community garden. We would definitely not be able to continue doing this work without financial support. This infrastructure, the greenhouse, is the biggest infrastructure that VGN owns at the moment. It's resource intensive, and we are definitely dedicated to having it serve the community. And so the free workshops that we provide every month require financial backing. We're very much leaning into producing educational material, and so we have many kind of infographics and manuals that we've written in English, and the SARE grant is allowing us to translate into other language and to also film videos in 3 target languages. We are making videos in Swahili, in Nepali, and in Spanish.
See, it's some pretty amazing stuff.
Yeah, they're great. That particular slate, there were some really great projects.
Yeah, yeah, and you can see how these SARE grants have that multiplier effect.
And
the way
that's what we want. We want, if you're doing something on your farm, that's great. We want other farmers to be able to do it.
Yeah.
What's really interesting about that project is that it's really looking at making sure, you know, there's a saying, eat what you grow, grow what you eat. And it's really making sure that the crops that are produced are being utilized by the people.
Yeah.
Because if you don't, if it's not utilized, then
Right.
it goes to food, it becomes food waste.
Yes, yes, exactly. I mean, when I
Yes.
was doing my food systems work, I mean, that was one of the points we from the kitchen perspective, we're also always thinking about these are products, these are ingredients.
Yes.
This is, if it doesn't end up in the kitchen and in somebody's belly,
It
what
ends
was the
up
point?
in a pile somewhere.
Yeah, right,
So
more compost.
well, that compost is good, but
Compost is
we
good,
want
but
people to eat the food.
We would like people to eat the food.
Yes.
Okay, so we summarized the grants, funding, and due dates for the Northeast SARE grants currently available. That's on the screen now, so you can see there's a whole bunch. We'll provide a link to the website with detailed information too. There's a lot of information to process, but the takeaway is it's important to figure out which grant fits you best.
With any funding, you want to make sure that what you're thinking about aligns with what the grants are funding. And all of our grant programs, we spent a lot of time really going through the grants, making sure that they're distinct. We've also done a lot with the review process to make sure it's transparent and fair. So we've come up with rubrics. That's all on our website, so you can look at that to really look at what we're using to evaluate each proposal.
Okay, yeah.
So
yeah, and if folks want to learn more about the grants that
We
they're applying to,
have-
what should they do?
They should definitely go to the question and answer sessions that are being prepared by our staff. The staff of SARE is really, they're wonderful, and definitely talk to the grant administrators who is in charge of the program. And here's just another tip. SARE, all SARE is located within Extension. So I'm not trying to give anybody any extra work, but really maybe contact Extension and find out if somebody in Extension is willing to work with you. That's really how the program is supposed to work.
Yeah, yeah. Well, so tell me a little bit too about why it is that the farming community grants have been something that you have been so personally interested in yourself.
Because
it connects to your background, doesn't it?
I'm a social scientist, yeah, but I mean, it's
Yeah.
also a grant that I didn't design it, but I had to launch it. And I think that we did a lot of new things. We had 168 applications, and as one grant administrator put it, it blew up all of our structures, and we had to really think differently in how we approached reviewing that, which led to us kind of revamping our review process, because 168 applications is a lot of applications.
That's a lot of applications.
So it's one of our, right now, as it's a very popular grant. There was a need for it. And the projects, it runs throughout the Northeast, the 14 projects, and they're all fascinating.
Yeah.
So, and you can look on our website and look up our projects, just to let you know.
Well, I would say something else that I really enjoyed on the website that is worth going and taking a look at is you have, it's not quite like a ticker, but there's a video that just shows, and it's very quick, it's like 10 seconds, 10 seconds, 10 seconds, just showing how many grants there are. Like, that's what I was saying. Like, we talked a little bit about the funding situation right now, which has not been great. It's been a challenging time. But to actually see, you know, where money is still flowing, and that's like a really important part of what your office is doing, is helping people find the money, connect with the money, get the money.
And we are, one thing that's interesting about SARE, it's an old program, it's not a new program. It started in the 80s, and its support, has bipartisan support. So that's how we have survived.
Is it part of USDA, or where's it under?
Yes, USDA, National Institute of Food and Agriculture. So we are funded by NIFA, so we are federally funded, and that's why really the best thing I could tell you is to stick to the legislation, which is on our website. So there are no questions, everything is on our website, full transparency.
And here's the link to that Northeast SARE website where you can get more information on the different grants, the official call for proposals, evaluation rubrics, dates, links for upcoming online Q&A sessions to help you through the process. Everything you need is there. Dr. Leslie, any final tips? Like 30 seconds, 5 seconds.
I would say innovation.
And legislation.
Legislation and replicability.
Replicability.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you so much for joining me. Go out there, people, get some money. And as always, thank you, Vermont, for learning and exploring with me today. And thanks to the team that makes Across the Fence possible. I'm Amy Finley. This is Across the Fence. Come back and let's learn and explore again tomorrow.